Hi little friends, and welcome to the story of Pinocchio. Geppetto was a kind old man, known throughout the village for his gentle nature and skilled craftsmanship. He spent his days making beautiful toys for children, bringing joy to their lives. But despite his cheerful demeanor, Geppetto lived alone. Often he would gaze out of his window, feeling a deep longing in his heart. He wished for a son to share his life with. One day, with a spark of inspiration, Geppetto decided to carve a puppet from a special piece of wood he had been saving. Geppetto, softly, "This wood feels different, almost magical," he murmured to himself as he began to carve. He worked meticulously, shaping the wood with love and care. As the puppet took form, Geppetto felt a connection growing. Geppetto, smiling, "I will name you Pinocchio," he said, holding the puppet up to the light. "You will be my son." Geppetto often talked to Pinocchio, sharing his dreams and hopes. "Oh, how I wish you were a real boy," he sighed, his voice filled with longing. That night, as Geppetto slept, the stars shone brightly in the sky. Something magical was about to happen. A blue fairy, shimmering with a mystical light, appeared in Geppetto's workshop, ready to grant his heartfelt wish. The blue fairy was surrounded by light. She had a radiant glow with shimmering wings and a gentle smile. She touched Pinocchio with her wand, her eyes sparkling with kindness. "Little puppet," she said, "I grant you life." Pinocchio opened his eyes. He could move. He was alive. Pinocchio was so happy. He danced and sang. Geppetto was overjoyed. He finally had a son. "Pinocchio," said the blue fairy, "be kind and good. Always tell the truth. Then you can become a real boy." Pinocchio looked up at the blue fairy with wide eyes. "I will, blue fairy," he promised, his voice filled with determination. The blue fairy smiled warmly. "Remember, Pinocchio, your actions define who you are. Be brave, truthful, and unselfish." With that, she gently patted his head and flew away, leaving a trail of sparkling light. Pinocchio waved goodbye, feeling a newfound sense of purpose. Geppetto wanted Pinocchio to go to school. "Learning is important," he said. He gave Pinocchio a book to sell for school books. "Be a good boy, Pinocchio," said Geppetto. Pinocchio promised to be good. Pinocchio walked to the bookstore, his wooden feet tapping rhythmically on the cobblestone path. On the way, he met a sly fox and a mischievous cat. They invited Pinocchio to join their adventure. Pinocchio forgot all about the book and school. He hesitated for a moment, remembering Geppetto's words. But the fox whispered promises of fun and excitement, and the cat nodded eagerly. Pinocchio smiled and followed them, leaving the village and his promise behind. The fox and the cat were tricky. They were always scheming. They wanted to take Pinocchio's money. They whispered to each other, planning their next move. "We know a magical place," said the fox. "It's called Pleasure Island." The cat nodded in agreement. Pinocchio, curious and excited, believed them. He followed them toward Pleasure Island. The fox led the way with a sly grin, and the cat followed closely behind. They came to a dark forest. Pinocchio was scared. The fox and the cat looked back at him with sinister smiles. He missed Geppetto. He wished he had gone to school. He thought of home and the warmth of Geppetto's workshop. "This doesn't feel right," Pinocchio said, his wooden heart heavy with guilt. He remembered the blue fairy's words, echoing in his mind like a gentle breeze. "I have to tell the truth," he exclaimed, his voice trembling but resolute. The fox and the cat were angry, their eyes burning with malice. But Pinocchio ran away, his legs moving faster than ever. He ran back to the town, the path illuminated by the soft glow of the moonlight. He wanted to find Geppetto and tell him the truth, his heart pounding with anticipation. As he journeyed, Pinocchio reflected on his actions, understanding the weight of his choices. He learned that honesty is always the best choice, and with that realization, a warm smile spread across his face. Scene opens with Pinocchio arriving at Pleasure Island, a place filled with colorful lights, laughter, and endless attractions. Narrator. Pinocchio's feet led him to Pleasure Island, a place that seemed like a dream come true. The air was filled with the sound of laughter and music, and everywhere he looked, There were games, rides, and delicious treats. A group of rowdy boys runs past Pinocchio, inviting him to join them. Boy 1, come on Pinocchio, let's ride the Ferris wheel. Boy 2, and don't forget the cotton candy, it's the best. Narrator say. Pinocchio's eyes sparkled with excitement as he joined the boys. He rode the Ferris wheel, played games, and ate more sweets than he could count. But as the night went on, he noticed something strange. Scene shifts to a darker part of the island where boys are turning into donkeys. Pinocchio whispers, "What's happening to them?" Narrator. The boys, now with long ears and tails, were being rounded up by sinister-looking figures. Pinocchio's heart raced as he felt his own ears twitching. Pinocchio, desperately, "No, this can't be!" Scene shows Pinocchio running through the island, avoiding the figures and the temptations. Narrator. He ran from the games, the sweets, and the laughter, all the while feeling the weight of his choices. The fun he had seemed hollow now, knowing the price he would pay. Scene shifts to Pinocchio finding a quiet corner where he sits and reflects. Pinocchio sighs. "I've made a terrible mistake. I should have listened to the Blue Fairy and Geppetto." Narrator Pinocchio's wooden heart felt heavy with regret. He realized that Pleasure Island was a trap, a place that preyed on the innocent and the naive. Scene shows Pinocchio standing up, determined. "Pinocchio, I need to get out of here and make things right." Narrator. With newfound resolve, Pinocchio navigated the treacherous paths of Pleasure Island, avoiding the temptations that once lured him in. He knew that the path to honesty and integrity was not always easy, but it was the right one. Scene ends with Pinocchio finding the exit of Pleasure Island, the moonlight guiding his way. Narrator. As Pinocchio left Pleasure Island behind, he felt a sense of relief and clarity. He had learned a valuable lesson about the consequences of his actions, and he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with honesty and courage. Scene opens with Pinocchio sprinting through the dark, twisted paths of Pleasure Island. The sinister figures are in hot pursuit, their shadows elongated in the eerie moonlight. Narrator Pinocchio's heart pounded as he raced through the darkened paths of Pleasure Island, desperate to escape the nightmare he had fallen into. The sinister figures were closing in, their footsteps echoing like a countdown. Scene shows Pinocchio stumbling upon a group of boys who have partially transformed into donkeys. They look at him with pleading eyes. Boy 3, frantically, "Pinocchio, help us! We don't want to be donkeys forever!" Pinocchio, determined, "We have to find a way out. Follow me." Narrator. With a newfound sense of responsibility, Pinocchio led the boys through hidden paths and avoided the traps set by the island's sinister overseers. Scene shifts to a narrow alley where a familiar face appears. Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy, breathless. "Pinocchio, I've been looking all over for you. We need to get out of here now." Pinocchio, relieved. "Jiminy, I'm so sorry. You were right. This place is a trap." Jiminy, nodding. "Apologies can wait. We have to move." Scene shows Pinocchio, Jiminy, and the boys making their way through the maze-like structure of Pleasure Island. They encounter obstacles but manage to overcome them with teamwork. Narrator. The path was fraught with challenges, but Pinocchio's determination never wavered. He knew that every step brought him closer to freedom and to Geppetto. Scene shifts to the edge of Pleasure Island, where a tall fence blocks their way. Pinocchio spots a weakened section. Pinocchio, pointing, "Over there, we can break through." Boy 4, nervous. "What if they catch us?" Pinocchio, firm, "They won't. We'll stick together." Narrator. With a coordinated effort, they broke through the fence and sprinted towards the open sea, the moonlight illuminating their path. Scene shows them finally reaching the shore, where a small, abandoned boat awaits. Jiminy, encouraging. "Quick, into the boat," Pinocchio, helping the boys. "Hurry, everyone!" Narrator. As they pushed the boat into the water, Pinocchio felt a mix of relief and determination. He knew that escaping Pleasure Island was just the beginning. He had to find Geppetto and make things right. Scene shows Pinocchio and the others rowing away from the island, the sinister figures fading into the distance. Pinocchio, resolute. "I'm coming, Geppetto. I won't let you down again." Narrator. With every stroke of the oar, Pinocchio felt his resolve strengthen. He had learned a valuable lesson about the consequences of his actions and was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with honesty and courage. Scene ends with the boat drifting towards the horizon, the first light of dawn breaking. Narrator. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Pinocchio knew that this was the start of a new journey. A journey towards redemption, love, and the true meaning of being real. Scene opens with the small boat gently rocking on the calm sea as the dawn lightens the sky. Pinocchio, Jiminy, and the boys are tired but hopeful. The camera zooms in on Pinocchio's determined face. Narrator. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Pinocchio knew that this was the start of a new journey. A journey towards redemption, love, and the true meaning of being real. Scene transitions to the shores of a small, serene village. Pinocchio and the others disembark from the boat, their eyes scanning the surroundings. The camera focuses on Pinocchio's earnest expression. Pinocchio, softly, this is it. Geppetto must be here somewhere. Scene shows Pinocchio and Jiminy navigating the village, asking townsfolk about Geppetto. The villagers point them towards a quaint little workshop at the edge of town. Narrator. With every step, Pinocchio's heart raced. He had never felt such a mix of excitement and anxiety. What would Geppetto say? Would he forgive him? Scene shifts to the workshop's entrance. Pinocchio hesitates for a moment before pushing the door open. Inside, Geppetto is hunched over his workbench, his face lined with worry and fatigue. Pinocchio, voice trembling. Geppetto! Geppetto turns around, his eyes widening in disbelief. He drops his tools and rushes towards Pinocchio, enveloping him in a tight embrace. Geppetto! Tearfully. Pinocchio! My boy, you're safe! Pinocchio! Sobbing. I'm so sorry, Geppetto. I made so many mistakes. Geppetto! Gently. Shh, it's okay, my son. The important thing is that you're here now. Scene shows them sitting together in the workshop, the warm glow of the morning sun filtering through the windows. Pinocchio looks down, ashamed. Pinocchio, I wanted to be real so badly that I didn't think about the consequences. I lied, I ran away, and I almost lost everything. Geppetto, softly. We all make mistakes, Pinocchio. What's important is that we learn from them and try to do better. Pinocchio, nodding. I understand that now. I learned that honesty and responsibility are what truly make someone real. I promise I'll never let you down again. Geppetto, smiling. You've already made me proud, Pinocchio. By coming back, you've shown me that you have a true heart. Scene shifts to Jiminy Cricket, who watches the reunion with a satisfied smile. Jiminy, wisely. It's not the mistakes we make, but how we fix them that defines us. Scene shows Pinocchio and Geppetto working together in the workshop, the atmosphere filled with warmth and love. The camera pans out to show the village, peaceful and bathed in sunlight. Narrator. In that small workshop, surrounded by love and forgiveness, Pinocchio found his true self. He had learned that being real wasn't about being perfect. It was about being honest, responsible, and kind. Scene ends with Pinocchio and Geppetto stepping out of the workshop, hand in hand, ready to face the future together. Narrator, and so Pinocchio's journey towards becoming real was complete, not through magic, but through the lessons of life, love, and the unwavering bond with his father. Scene opens with Pinocchio and Geppetto stepping out of the workshop, hand in hand, as the village comes to life around them. Birds chirp and the sun shines brightly. Narrator. As Pinocchio and Geppetto embraced their future together, a familiar, magical presence was felt in the air. Scene transitions to a shimmering light descending from the sky, landing gracefully in front of Pinocchio and Geppetto. The light fades to reveal the Blue Fairy, her ethereal glow illuminating the surroundings. Blue Fairy, softly. Pinocchio, my dear child, you have shown great courage and an honest heart. Pinocchio's eyes widen in awe and gratitude. He steps forward, his voice trembling with emotion. Pinocchio, Blue Fairy, I didn't know if I'd ever see you again. I've tried so hard to be good and honest. Blue Fairy, smiling warmly. And you have, Pinocchio. Through your trials and your unwavering love for Geppetto, you have proven that you possess the qualities of a true, real boy. Geppetto watches with tears of joy in his eyes, his hands resting on Pinocchio's shoulders. Geppetto, softly, thank you, Blue Fairy. You've given me back my son. The Blue Fairy raises her wand, and a gentle, sparkling light envelops Pinocchio. The camera captures the transformation as his wooden limbs slowly turn into flesh and blood. Blue Fairy, with a serene tone. Pinocchio, from this day forth, you are no longer a puppet made of wood. You are a real boy with a heart full of love and a spirit that shines bright. Pinocchio looks down at his hands, now human, and tears of joy stream down his face. He turns to Geppetto, who embraces him tightly. Pinocchio, sobbing with happiness. Geppetto, I'm real! I'm finally real! Geppetto, laughing through his tears. Yes, my boy, you are real, and I'm so proud of you. The camera pans to the Blue Fairy, who watches the reunion with a satisfied smile before turning to leave. Blue Fairy, gently, remember, Pinocchio, the lessons you've learned. Honesty, love, and responsibility are what make you truly real. Farewell, my child. The Blue Fairy ascends back into the sky, her light fading into the morning sun. The scene transitions to the village, where the townsfolk gather around, witnessing the miracle with smiles and applause. Narrator. And so, in a small village bathed in sunlight, a wooden puppet's journey came to a joyous end. Not through magic alone, but through the power of love, honesty, and the bond between a father and his son. Scene ends with Pinocchio and Geppetto walking hand in hand through the village, greeted warmly by the townsfolk. The camera pans out to show the village, peaceful and full of life. Narrator Pinocchio had become real, not just in body, but in heart and soul. And with Geppetto by his side, he was ready to embrace the adventures that awaited them. Scene opens with Pinocchio and Geppetto walking through the village, hand in hand. The townsfolk wave and smile at them. Children run up to greet Pinocchio, who beams with joy. Narrator, with the Blue Fairy's blessing, Pinocchio and Geppetto embarked on a new chapter in their lives, filled with happiness and the promise of countless adventures. Scene transitions to Geppetto's workshop, now bustling with activity. Pinocchio, now a real boy, helps Geppetto with his woodworking, both of them laughing and chatting. Pinocchio, Geppetto, look! I carved this little bird all by myself. Geppetto, smiling proudly. That's wonderful, Pinocchio. You have a real talent for this. I'm so proud of you, my boy. Scene shifts to the village square, where a festival is taking place. Pinocchio and Geppetto join the townsfolk in dancing and celebrating, their faces lit with happiness. Narrator. Their days were filled with joy and laughter, and the bond between them grew stronger with each passing moment. Scene transitions to a peaceful evening at Geppetto's home. They sit by the fireplace, Geppetto carving a new toy, while Pinocchio reads a book. Pinocchio, Geppetto, do you think the Blue Fairy is watching over us? Geppetto, gently. I believe she is, Pinocchio. And I think she's very proud of you, just as I am. Pinocchio, thoughtfully. I'll always remember what she said. Honesty, love, and responsibility. Those are the things that make me truly real. Geppetto, nodding. Yes, my son. And as long as you hold those values close to your heart, you'll always be the best version of yourself. Scene shifts to a bright morning, with Pinocchio and Geppetto heading out on a new adventure, backpacks slung over their shoulders. Narrator, Pinocchio and Geppetto's journey was just beginning. Together, they faced each new day with courage and love, knowing that their bond was unbreakable. Scene ends with a panoramic view of the village, with Pinocchio and Geppetto's figures growing smaller as they walk into the horizon, hand in hand. Narrator. The story of Pinocchio teaches us that the true magic lies not in the transformation of wood to flesh, but in the transformation of the heart. Through honesty, love, and responsibility, we can all become the best versions of ourselves. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Scene fades to black with the words "The End" appearing on the screen.